Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Will Charlton. Welcome to another edition of Noteworthy in the NCAA, a weekly podcast talking about the latest happenings going on in the landscape of college athletics. Happy to have you with us on another Monday afternoon or evening, wherever it may be that you're watching. The biggest thing, and we'll get into it shortly, but the biggest thing we're going to talk about today is the college basketball season is officially back. So I'll give my predictions for who I think is going to win each power conference and some teams who I think could kind of fly under the radar this year and maybe make some noise heading into March Madness. Before we get started, are you ready for more live sports talk? Good, because the Empty the Bench Network is giving you exactly that. Do you know and love the premier content from Playback TV? And while that great platform isn't going anywhere, we are making our live programming more accessible. We're thrilled to announce that Playback TV content is officially expanding to its live broadcast to the ETB Kick and Twitch channels. This is all about giving you more convenient options, whether you prefer the vibe of Twitch or the growth of Kick. Have new ways to get involved in the live action. Join us for instant takes, the hot debates, and the chance to get your comments read on air, all happening live. It's easy to find us and join the growing community. Just head over to Kick and Twitch and search for at ETB Network. That's at ETB Network to watch all the expanded live content from Playback TV. Tune in and join the conversation. And speaking of joining the conversation, let's talk some college basketball. So this Monday, November 3rd, is the start of the 2025-26 college basketball season. And man, oh man, my favorite sport is back. I am a college basketball junkie through and through. College football is right below it. But college basketball is my forte, and it's the sport that I follow closely. Any night that it's on and I'm not really doing a whole lot, college basketball is always on my TV. So once again, before I kind of get into my process of who I think is going to win each power conference, I'm going to show you guys once again the Ken Pom rankings that were released earlier this year. And the Ken Pom rankings preseason are the most true and best way to rank a college basketball team. So obviously, Ken Pom ranks every single team all the way down to 365, which is the last team in NCAA Division One, and that's Mississippi Valley State. Obviously, coming into today, a team had not played a legitimate game besides exhibition games. So this list is about as true as you can kind of judge a team before the season really starts. So obviously, defending national champion Florida right here. They are number 2 coming into the year. And this is a big one right here. This is if you see what I'm highlighting right here, this is adjusted efficiency margin. And that's kind of the biggest metric that determines how good a basketball team is. So essentially, this is going to tell a team like how much better they can be opposed to their competition. That number is not like, oh, they're going to score 31 more points than the game in the term of Houston. That's not what that means. That just means basically how good a team will be based off. Yeah, it's essentially just, well, it's the math between offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency. So if your number is like anything above like 10, for instance, you're in a pretty solid spot. But these top 10 teams are, according to KenPom, teams you're going to want to watch out for the whole season. And usually that's a great indicator of how teams will do throughout the season because they're, KenPom has had a really high success rate of ranking their teams preseason and showing success in March. I'm not saying they go to the Final Four, win the national championship, for instance, but I'm saying these are teams that most usually go to March and can play on into the second weekend, if not further. So that being said, I'm going to pick Houston to win the Big 12 outright conference, regular season, and tournament. They returned so much value from last year. Kelvin Sampson is one of the best coaches out there, and they just ran through that conference last year. I think Kansas is going to be their biggest test in the conference this year. Texas Tech's going to be right up there as well. So will Iowa State. But yeah, I think Houston is going to win the Big 12 once again. Won't be shocked though if like a Texas Tech or an Iowa State is who wins the conference as well. In the Big Ten, I'm going to go with Purdue winning the regular season conference title, but I'm going to go Michigan to win the conference tournament. Michigan's just got so many good pieces. They got a huge addition in Yaxel Landeboard this year. who is going to be a phenomenal piece for them. Might be one of the best players in the Big Ten this season. So I'm going to go with Michigan to win the Big Ten tournament, Purdue to win the regular season. In the SEC, I have a really hard time thinking that it's not going to be Florida who at least wins either the conference tournament or the regular season. So I'm going to go with the Gators to win the regular season this year. They did not win the regular season last year, but I think they're going to win the regular season this year. And then I'm actually going to go with Kentucky to win the conference tournament. I think Kentucky is under Mark Pope this year. They're going to be a really solid team. Obviously, they're number 4, Florida's number 2. The SEC is going to be just as good this year, I think. I don't think they're going to get 14 teams in the NCAA tournament like they did last year, but the SEC is going to be an interesting team to watch. And also, you see Vanderbilt right there at 19. Vandy's going to be a team to watch out for this year as well. I think Vandy's going to be a surprise team for a lot of people this season. And then so we've done Big 12, SEC, Big 10. We got to do the ACC. I feel like the obvious answer here is to go with Duke. Cameron Boozer is going to be one of the best freshmen in the country. So I'm going to go Duke outright in the ACC conference title and conference tournament. But I won't be shocked if a team like Louisville or even a team like North Carolina or Clemson makes some noise in the conference as well. NC State should be pretty solid the first year under their new head coach. I'm blanking out who his name is. That Will Wade, right? Yeah, they decided Will Wade as their head coach. I was going to say I knew it was a pretty big name. Will Wade, who led the McNeese to their first ever conference or NCAA tournament win a season ago. So Will Wade, I think he's going to be a nice addition for that team. So, but I'm going Duke to win the conference outright, and then the Big East. I'm going to go St. John's to win the regular season, UConn to win the conference tournament. That's become one of the biggest rivalries in the sport, UConn, St. John's. So I'm really excited to see those two teams play twice, maybe even 3 times this year. So yeah, once again, college basketball is back, and that's going to be our main focus on this show moving forward. So we'll highlight the AP poll. We'll still talk about the AP poll from college football, and also the college football playoff rankings, which come out tomorrow night for the first time. So, but we're going to do a lot of, and we'll also show you the updated KenPom rankings each week as well. So we'll move on from that. And now we'll talk about some college football. The first thing, another head coach from the SEC has been fired. Hugh Freeze is out at Auburn. Auburn just suffered a brutal 10-3 loss to Kentucky, who was one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the SEC at home. So Auburn is pulling the plug on Hugh Freeze. And what's really interesting about this Auburn team is they could have beat Georgia at home. Honestly, should have. They were almost close to being up 17-zip going into halftime. And then they could have beat who was it? Oklahoma. Oklahoma on the road. They only lost by a few points on the road to Oklahoma. They almost beat Missouri at home. That's who it was. Yeah, close loss to Missouri at home. Then they just do this against Kentucky. So Hugh Freeze, once again, is out as head coach of Auburn. So that's now vacancies at Arkansas, Florida, Auburn. There's one of the SEC school that I'm blanking out who fired their coach already. Oh, yeah, Brian Kelly at LSU. Right, Brian Kelly. So, yeah, 4 SEC schools now have head coaching vacancies heading into this offseason. That's pretty crazy. It's definitely like I feel like there's so many noteworthy coach openings now because Auburn's open, Florida's open, Arkansas, LSU, Penn State, Virginia Tech. Yeah, there's a lot of big openings right now in college football. So this is going to be a crazy coaching carousel during the offseason. So now we can take a look at the new AP poll for college football. And I'll get that up here so I can show you guys real quick. Here we go. Share my screen once again. So yeah, here is the new college football AP poll. This is the last time the AP poll is going to be used to determine a team's ranking, like in broadcast. It's finally good to see Washington in there. They are 6-2. Also, this is like Tennessee at 23. They just lost to Oklahoma at home and frankly didn't really even play that good. I know it was only a 1-score game at the end, but Oklahoma's up 2 scores for a majority of the game. I cannot believe Tennessee is still in there at 23. Like their best win is on the road to Mississippi State where they almost lost. And Tennessee's been a confusing team this year because they have shown some really good signs, like almost beating Georgia at home. But a game like this past weekend at home against Oklahoma, a night atmosphere at Neyland Stadium, I can't believe they didn't win that game, especially with how inconsistent Oklahoma's been. But maybe that's just a testament to the showing that Oklahoma's back with John Mateer kind of getting back into his own at quarterback. I don't get the Virginia hype still. Like I understand they won again at Cal, but I just don't understand like it's so weird to see Miami at 18 after they were number 2 just a couple weeks ago. Like they have dropped 16 spots due to back-to-back losses. Like seeing Miami just drop that far off, they're not going to make the college football playoff. Miami's a lost cause now at this point. And frankly, I don't even think they should still be ranked. I know the Notre Dame one's still holding a lot of value, but that's definitely the best win at this point. And especially since Notre Dame is continuing to rise up, they're number 10 now. It's kind of wild to see Miami even still in there after the last 2 bad performances against Louisville and SMU. Yeah, this lost SMU this week. That's right. So Miami is in a really bad spot now, and they are in a lot of trouble. Um, Mario Cristobal, just another November collapse. Another November collapse for Miami. So Georgia Tech suffered its first loss of the season too. They're not undefeated anymore. So the ACC is only going to get one team for sure. It's just going to be the conference champion who goes at this point. It's just too weak of a conference to send more than one team anymore. Especially since Virginia already has a loss, Georgia Tech now has a loss, Miami has 2. Miami's not even going to play in the conference tournament. Louisville has a loss to Virginia, which I guess that's actually helping Virginia's case since Louisville's 14. So yeah, not a whole lot of movement at the top. Top 5 still the same. Oregon still in there at 6. Ole Miss at 7. BYU's that's actually a top 10 matchup coming up this weekend. BYU at Texas A&M, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Or Texas Tech, sorry. I'm really excited to see how that game plays out this coming Saturday. The Red Raiders are my pick to win the Big 12 preseason, so I'm gonna have the Red Raiders winning that game this coming weekend. Vandy slides down a few spots after they lost to Texas, who's now 13. So Texas maybe find their own. Cincinnati stays in after a really tough loss at Utah, who's now 17. So USC's continuing to rise up a little bit. USC certainly has a case to be a college ball playoff team if they can finish with 2 losses. Notre Dame and Illinois. They have to beat Oregon though at the end of the year. Washington, same deal. So Big Ten's gonna be pretty interesting to see how that shakes out. And yeah, this is like I said, this is gonna be the last time we really pay attention to the AP poll this year. Thankfully, because I'm so sick of having to deal with the AP poll with how ridiculous it can be at times. The first college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow night. Very excited to see the legitimate rankings for the first time this year because the college football playoff rankings are actually based off numbers, actually based off who teams have played, and actually based off true statistical value of how teams are overall. So that once again comes out tomorrow night, and we can talk about what we expect to see in the second coming of the college ball playoff poll in next week's episode. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of Noteworthy.